Good evening. Welcome everyone to tonight's very special shir. We all just got inspired by the great holiday, the great Chag of Chanukah, and of course it was such a inspirational, brought so much light to our lives and the community and the Jewish and the entire world. And of course it's the night after Chanukah, right after Zos Chanukah, one of the holiest, one of the greatest days of the entire year, and that's why we're all here tonight to get that. How do we take that light of the Chanukah and bring it throughout the entire year? So that it won't just be an 8-day experience, it could be a 365-day experience and for many more years to come. So tonight we have the great honor to hear from Rabbi Maor Bendel, followed by one of the Rabbanim over here, Rabbi Zino, Beth Gavriel, Beth Chazaq, Beth Gavriel, and of course, Meorot. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. And when you talk about the light, there's one thing that always comes to my mind. Rabbi Eli Mansour, he says that there was a guy, there's a mashal, there's a guy, he's working for the Con Edison. He's in charge of the entire lights of all the city. He sits there from 9 p.m. until 9 a.m. He's sitting there, he's in charge of the entire switchboard. So what happens? He gets bored. What is he going to do? How much was there to do? He looks at all the 500 buttons there and everything. What's that much to do? So what does he do? He takes out a book and he's reading. What happens at midnight? So all of a sudden he hears, boom, the entire city, there's no lights in the entire city. After a few minutes, he sees there's looting, there's robbing, stabbing. So what does he say? People come to him, they say, what are you going to do? So he's in charge of the entire switchboard. So what does he do? He takes out a little flashlight, continues reading. He says, okay, but he's good. He has his light, he's good. But what happens? No, he's in charge of the entire switchboard. So he has to do something about it. So each of us in our lives, we got inspiration, we got the light in our. Hopefully, we came to shiur and we came to family events that were increasing in our Torah, mitzvot, and for Chanukah. But we have to say to ourselves, what are we going to do to bring that light not only to our own lives throughout the entire year to come, but of course to our fellow brothers and sisters, our friends, our neighbors, relatives, so we bring them light throughout the year. So, and somebody who's doing that, Baruch Hashem, is the great Rabbi Maor Bendel. Shlita, that's all rise.
Chazaq Rabbi, the beautiful opening words. I'll tell you the truth. This morning, I woke up. Now, I don't know if anyone has kids in yeshiva, but the kids didn't have school today, Baruch Hashem. My wife still had work. So that means 3 kids at home with me. So I want to see you guys try preparing a shiur with 3 kids running around. Not so easy. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to the Shemaya, He helps every single person in the world when he needs it. And this morning, I had a thought in my mind of what I'm going to prepare the class and what I'm going to write about. And I started writing down notes in the morning. As soon as I woke up, after prayer, I came home, I opened up my notebook, and I started writing down notes. And in my notes, I wrote down a shiur. Something that was on my mind. And in the evening, when my wife came home, I sat down, opened up my notebook, and I started writing, and I wanted to expound on the words I wrote in the morning. And for some reason, some way, somehow, my mind took me a completely different direction. My mind took me somewhere else completely. And I started writing and prepared a completely different shiur. So therefore, I want to share with you guys a conversation that I had with myself today. Something that was bothering me. Shelibi, my heart told me, this is what I want, this is what you have to write. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was madrich oti ladavar hazeh. And I want to share with you guys. I checked it with my wife beforehand. I said to her, you think it's okay? She said, it's okay. So Baruch Hashem will be okay. Rabbi said in the beginning, this morning, this night, marks the end of Chanukah. Today, the morning, was the last day, the 8th and final day of Chanukah. Now, everyone is already going home, putting away the Chanukiah, taking down the stickers, taking down all the posters, taking out everything going away. And they're getting ready to move on with the year. But the reality is that Chanukah doesn't end when the holiday ends. The war doesn't stop when we stop lighting the candles. It's a war that presses on every single day of our life. We have now, this time of the year specifically, we're coming into the months where, for many, many people, it's very difficult. Why? Because they look out into the world and they see these beautiful lights and these beautiful trees and the light shows And the songs, you go to the supermarket, they're playing his songs and all types of different things, externalities that are pulling you in. And the corporations, what they did is they spent millions of dollars to instill into people this feeling of nostalgia, this feeling of this holiday, this thing. And they put so much money in it, and they started to send it out into the world. And we see that these Western society ideas that were started from the Yevanim, from the Greeks, started to penetrate into us. They did such a good job selling these things and making people so invested into it. They convinced the Goyim, they did such a good job, they convinced them to wait on hour-long lines for their kids to sit on a random old man's, fat elderly man's stomach wearing a red coat. Any other time of the year, there would be charges. But this time of the year, we're all going to wait in line for hours for our kids to sit on this random person's lap and tell him, oh, by the way, what do you want this year? Oh, I want this. Can this guy get it for them? No. So even they know what they're doing is irrational, so why are they doing it? Or they tell them, you know what, tonight you guys are going to put cookies on the table and a glass of milk, and he's going to come down the chimney. Who's going to come down the chimney? Most people don't even have chimneys nowadays. When's the last time you been to the house that had a chimney? And they still put up these things. Who eats it? The dad comes home in the middle of the night, and he eats. But they convinced them. Such a good job selling it that they convinced them. But the question we have to ask ourselves is, did they get into our homes? Did they make it into our homes or not? No, huh? Let me ask you guys a question that we have to real with ourselves right now. When you were a kid, when you were a child, or if you have children, when they lost a tooth, did you put it under the pillow and tell them, oh, you're going to go to sleep tonight and you're going to get a visit from the tooth fairy? Who's the tooth fairy? לא ראיתי שום גמרא, I didn't see any Gemara about a tooth fairy. No midrash, nowhere in the Torah talks about a tooth fairy. How did the Jewish people get this idea of a tooth fairy? What's the origin of this tooth fairy? Where did it come from? You know, what's the origin of the tooth fairy? Many, many, many years ago, during the medieval times, they used to believe in witchcraft. So they would say, if you lose a tooth, a witch would come and use it against you, so they would bury it and put it in the ground. So Western society took that and said, yo, we can market this and make money, huh? We can make money from this, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to make it into a children's story. Yeah, you go to sleep at night, and they put you $20 under the pillow, and they marketed it. And they made shows, and they made this, and they made that. It's all about making money. Think about it. They took the coldest season of the year in New York, where it should be the slowest time, and they had people traveling from all over the world to come to a freezing cold to wait in the 3 hours in the sun to see a tree with lights. Do it in your backyard. No. The magic of New York City. My magic. That's a magic. They put a guy in a red coat with a white beard. This is the magic of New York City. But the question is did it make it into our houses? This idea of the tooth fairy, how did it get here? How do we know what that is? And I was thinking about it today, which is something we have to be real with ourselves every single day of the year. We're going to fight these battles and these changes. My wife told me today, one of her friends she grew up with, she never know. She saw her posting online something about it. I've been waiting all year for this season. What season? How does a Jew talk this way? You know, the Yevanim, they so much wanted to take away our Judaism from us. They didn't care. Antiochus didn't care if you stayed alive. All he wanted to do was take away your Judaism, to instill in you their values. And it didn't end with them. They continue till today. They're not trying to take away our values. You don't go to the supermarket and hear their songs. You don't go into the street and see all their lights. Like I told me the other day, I'm going on a trip. Where are you going? Oh, there's a nice light show in this neighborhood. You drive by with the cars, and everyone has the lights, and they put up these balloons. They call me dvarim, and we're going over there. Whoa. איפה כתוב? לא, אין סימן בשולחן ערוך. I didn't see anything בשולחן ערוך light shows. I didn't see any pasuk in the Torah. And they go, oh, Rabbi, don't be fanatic. It's nice, it's beautiful. But we don't realize that these small things, these small little things, that's how they penetrate into us. You know, our great-grandfathers, our great-grandparents, they fought and lo aleinu risked their lives to uphold Jewish ideologies in their home. And it's not so far away. On the same note, you go to the Soviet Union, and how many people that came from the Soviet Union, the Judaism was stolen from them. It was stolen from them. You have people today, Jewish people, who have in their house something called, quote-unquote, Chanukah bush. What's a Chanukah bush? What's a Chanukah bush? Where did it come from? They infiltrated. They came into our houses. They came into our houses. Our grandparents fought desperately for this. They risked their lives. And somehow they made it into our houses. You have Jews doing these things. And they fought. Or you have people who were in the Soviet Union, they were stolen from them, their grandchildren. What do you see? They're secular, not religious at all, but they have a mezuzah on the door. Or they keep Passover. They don't eat chametz. Or they eat a little bit of matzah, but they eat afterwards and outside of the house. Or they keep Yom Kippur, but they're on the phone. Something. Why? Because their great-grandparents fought. And if you're real with yourself, you meet anyone in the world, whether he's Jewish, religious or not, you'll see that if they go back 2-3 generations, they'll find someone in their family who was a rabbi or religious person. Has to be. But it was stolen from them. You know, my wife, her family were born in the Soviet Union. They ran away to Uzbekistan because of anti-Semitism. And then they had to run away from Uzbekistan to America from anti-Semitism. Until when are we running? How long are they going to come and persecute us for being Jewish? How long are they trying to come into our house and tell us you can't be you anymore? Or you want to be Jewish, then get out of here. Or we're going to kill you, or we're going to get rid of you. Why? You know, my wife's grandmother, who was one of the people who they stole from her the religion. When I got married to my wife, her grandmother, Alav Shalom, who passed away, she cried and told my wife, I'm so happy that you're getting married the right way. With chuppah and halakha. Because it was stolen from them. Antiochus, the Greek king, what did he tell them? You guys can't get married with ketubah. During the times of Chanukah, they told them, you guys cannot get married with ketubah. One of the things took away from them. It was stolen from them. And people, what are they doing today? They're giving it away for what? People risk their life to uphold Jewish values in their home, and people are giving it away today for some lights or a seasonal coffee from Starbucks. Oh, that's pumpkin and spice. They don't realize it's the small things that penetrate into your home. To see a frum couple going to Manhattan to go look at the tree and say, it's just something beautiful to look at. But they don't realize the effect it's going to have on their children. Our great-grandparents fought with everything they have inside of them, their whole entire life, to uphold these values. And we have the ability to do it for free. You know, everyone knows the story of Chanukah, yeah? When you guys grew up, you guys sing, Sevivon, sof, 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 Chanukah, uchak tov. You guys know the song? Dreidel, 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 I made you out of clay. You heard it before or no? Baruch Hashem. Where does the idea of dreidel come from? Many of us, if not all of us, heard about a dreidel. And most of us know its origin. But we forgot. Says the Ramchal, the beginning of Mesilat Yesharim, I didn't come to teach you anything you don't already know. I came to remind you what you allowed yourself to forget. What's the origin of the dreidel? Our ancestors, what would they use the dreidel for? They would learn Torah, which was outlawed at the time, by Antiochus with risk of death. They would sit down and learn Torah, and when the Greek soldiers would come in, they would spin the dreidels. This dreidel that every single year they're upgrading, new lights, new songs. Now they put an extra top spinner on top, you cock it up and you woo, and it goes crazy, and the kids. But we don't realize that the whole point of spinning this dreidel is not for us to dance to the songs that it's playing as it's spinning. The whole point of this dreidel is to remind us of the sacrifices our great-grandparents made, our ancestors made to uphold Jewish values. They risked their lives to learn Torah. They risked their lives to learn Torah, and the dreidel is supposed to remind us of that. And they fought. Everyone at this point, I'm sure, heard what happened in Australia. People are dying because they're Jewish, and they want us to what? Back down? They want us to hide our Judaism? I remember, after October 7th, someone came to me and told me, Rabbi, should we take out the mezuzot? I told them, don't take out nothing. This is exactly what they want you to do. They want you to hide your Judaism. They want you to store it away. They wanted to steal away from you the same way they stole from our great-grandparents. They want you to say, no, in the house. And what ends up happening? 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, then you have people who unfortunately are lost completely. Lost completely. How did they get there? Because they allowed these ideologies to penetrate into their home. They allowed it to penetrate into their home. Think about it. How much did our ancestors sacrifice? How much persecution the Jewish nation over the years have? And we always persevered. And they come and they try and they try and they try and they try. But we're the Maccabim. You don't realize it. We're the Maccabim. We're the few. We're the righteous. We're the Teorim. We're the ones who're supposed to fight. When they're out there trying to stop us, we're the ones who're supposed to fight. The same way our ancestors fought. Our great-grandparents, they risked their life, put themselves on the line to save the Jewish religion in their house, to keep even something small. To keep even something small. And we have to utilize the opportunity that we've been given. We have to understand what we've been given in our hands. Look in this week's parasha. Vayigash. Yehuda, last week, at the end of last week's parasha, how many kids? Whenever they find the gavia, the goblet, in Benjamin's bag, Yehuda doesn't fight. He doesn't say, oh no, we're going to jail. He says, we're going to go to jail, all of us. All of 11 of us are going to jail. Hatanu, Havinu, Pashanu. We sinned to our master, put us in jail. Yosef says, Khalil Ali, Chas v'shalom, God forbid. Only Benjamin. Then this week's parasha, Vayigash, he comes to him in harsh words, says Rashi al Pi Midrash, that he told him that you're like Paro. What was he telling him? I'll kill you and I'll kill Paro. Midrash Mefurash, Bereshit Rabbah. What? Last week, when all of you were supposed to go to jail, okay, take us. Let's go. Now, just Benjamin? Oh, I'm going to kill you. Maka, what happened? Imagine somebody owes somebody money. Your guy comes to you, tells you, you owe me $1 million. You tell him, I'm willing to pay $1 million. He says, no, you don't owe me $1 million. Only give me 100,000. And he fights. No, excuse me, I'm going to kill you. Better, give you a discount. 11 you're supposed to go to jail. And only one. Why is he fighting? What did he promise his father? Yaakov Avinu doesn't want to send Benjamin down to Mitzrayim. Until when? Until Yehuda promises him. What does he promise him? Chatati lecha kol hayamim. I sin to you all of my days. Says Rashi, al pi midrash, bereshit rabbah, all of my days, gam ba'olam haba. Also in the next world. When Yehuda hears, not that his life is at risk, his physical body is at risk. He hears that his neshama is at risk, his soul is at risk, he fights. Today our bodies are at risk, some people. But for the most part, we go out to the day, we don't have these risks every single day. But what is at risk every single day of your life? Your neshama. So when your spirituality is at risk, that's when you have to fight. When your spirituality is at risk, that's when you have to fight. We come from a long line of fighters. And every single one in our family fought for you to be here today. Go back. Don't believe me? Go home, ask your mom and your mom's mom. Mom, did we have I had a kid come to me. Kid was nothing to do with religion. Go kol davar. I told him, go home, ask your mom if her great-grandfather was a rabbi. Call you back the next day. Hey, Rabbi, how'd you know? How'd you know? I said, all of us. Ma, kulanu. We all with you, all. A couple hundred years ago, there was such a thing. But it was stolen from them. And they want to steal it away from us. They want to take it away from us, and we're going to allow them to? Chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom. For anyone who hasn't heard the story, the Gemara Masechet Gittin tells us the story of Hannah and her 7 sons. I'm sure you've heard it 100 times. I'll tell you one time, on Chanukah, on Shabbat and Chanukah, I opened up the Sefer I have in my house, and I was reading the story of Hannah. I had to close the book. My mom saw me. She said, why are you closing the book? I told her, I cannot read it without crying. She goes, why you cannot read it? I can't read the story without crying. You want to hear the story? Antiochus takes Hannah and her 7 sons. And he tells them, look guys, denounce religion. Run away from your God. The first son gets up and he tells him, I'm ad-libbing. Stop wasting your words. Don't ramble on. If you want to kill me, kill me. I'll never give up my religion. And what does he do? He doesn't just kill him. He orders him for him to be tortured, severed, cut into pieces in front of all of his mom and 6 of his siblings. And they have to sit there and watch this. And then they come to the next son, the 6th son. And he tells them, no, after you saw this, you ready to sacrifice your life, or you ready to come and do what I tell you to do? He tells them, don't waste your words, and don't skip out on me anything you did to my brother. Whatever you did to him, do exactly to me the same thing. Not one thing you skip over. They kill him too. Then the 5th son. Same thing. Then the 4th. Then the 3rd. Until they got down to the last son. The youngest son. Antiochus comes to Hannah and he tells her, listen, save your only son. You only have one left. Don't reason with him. She goes to him, she pulls him to the side. This is a mother. It's not a mother. And she tells her son, she kisses him. She tells him, I raised you in my womb 9 months. I fed you for 2 years, and I raised you until now. I don't know what I did to merit to have a son, to have all children who died like this. I wish and I pray that Hashem gives me the ability to be in the same place as you guys are in Gan Eden. Don't listen to what he says. Accept your fate, and Hashem is allowing you to die in Kiddush Hashem. And the kid goes exactly as his mother told him. And he dies in Kiddush Hashem, sanctity of God's name. And then Chana says the Gemara, she prays to Hashem, Hashem, let me join my children. And before the last son goes, she tells him, go and tell Avraham Avinu, you sacrificed one, I sacrificed 7. This is not talking about someone you never heard of in your life. This is a regular Jewish woman watched 7 of her children sacrifice an altar to keep Judaism. Far less than 100 years ago, 1941, of Elchanan Wasserman, Zichronot Tzadik Levacha, in the Holocaust. He would manage to try and run away to Vilna. He was caught by a few Nazi sympathizers. And they held him and 12 of his students up at gunpoint. And I told them, we're going to kill you. You know what he told his students? He said, don't cry, don't scream, don't be afraid. We have the merit to die on Kiddush Hashem. Let's accept our faith and thank Hashem that we were chosen to do so. And let's do Vidui and Shema Yisrael. And they said Shema Yisrael as the Neshama left their body. This is less than 100 years ago. In our days, we don't have, in Eretz Yisrael, the soldiers going to risk their life. We don't have mortars every single day of our life, people living over here sacrificing life to be Jews. The story with Australia, what did they do? They lit the Chanukah. They wanted to be Jewish and celebrate the Judaism. Our stories are laced with people dying because this world wants to stop you from being Jewish. They ran us out from almost every country in the world. But guess what? We can no longer run. We have to leave this Chanukah and understand the message we have to take for ourselves is that we're Jewish and we're proud and no one will take it away from us. Nobody in the world will take it away from us, and we'll stand and we'll fight every single day. But the fight's not out there. The fight's in here, in our hearts. The fight's in our hearts. We have to be real with ourselves. When we hear the songs and we hear these things and all these things, there's a little bit of ourselves. One guy told me, Rabbi, I'm completely disgusted by it. I told him, beautiful. But if you're going with your nature, not what you train yourself, with your nature, it's nice. He tells me, of course. The trees, the lights, the this, the pumpkin spice lattes, the mom's going from Starbucks. Okay? You're fair, everything looks good. Rabbi, I'm a fanatic, it's nice. Beautiful lights. Green, blue, yellow, purple. Huh? We go see light show with the kids in the car. Huh? With the Chanukah music. You're fair. You don't realize. Some people tell you, yeah, Rabbi, you're being a fanatic. Maybe. But we don't realize that the small things, that's what infiltrates. It's those small moments of that one coffee that your kid sees you drinking and he says, that smells nice. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to drink that coffee. But not only is he going to drink that coffee, he's going to take it a step further. Or he passes by and sees the light show. He says, no, so lights over here in Diker Beach and lights in 5th Avenue in Manhattan, same thing. What's the difference? So I'm in the car, my mom listens to Chanukah music, it's okay. But if I'm in 5th Avenue, it's not okay? No, it's shkulukim. That's what happens. The Yetzer Hara, you know how he works with us? He doesn't move in our lives fast. The Chazaq bring down a mashal of a guy walking in the desert and he sees an empty house. You think he's going to bust through the door right away? Hey, I'm here. No. What does he do? First thing first, he sees this nice mansion. Beautiful white mansion in the middle of nowhere. Okay, someone lives here or not? I don't know. Beautiful mansion. Someone has to live here. So what does he do? First thing first, he comes to the door. And he knocks. And then he says, is anybody here? So he opens the door and he goes, anybody home? Anybody home? And nobody answers. So what does he do? Starts to tiptoe into the house. And then he goes to the kitchen. And he goes to the room and the bedroom. And that night he sleeps in the house, one eye open. The next morning he wakes up. He's checking. After a week, he changes the locks on the door to his house already. He's like, bye, Charlie, squatter. Squatter. 2 years is mine already. Yetzer Hara, that's how he works with you. First thing first, he comes, he knocks. You hear the song? You hear the one? You hear it? Good, now I got you on the knock. Then what does he do? Opens the door. Pasuk mefurash, Bereshit. Lapetach chatat robetz. Sin awaits you at the heart. It waits for one little opening. You open the door, he comes running in. One little opening. One pumpkin-sized latte. He's already waiting for you at the door. He's already waiting. And then as soon as he comes in, 1, 2, 3, next thing you know, he takes over the whole entire house. We're leaving Chanukah now. We have to remember, it's our avodah to fight. It's our avodah to fight these Yevanim. The Yevanim didn't end there. It's today. It's out there. It's in the streets. And it's Arenu. It's in our hearts. We have to uproot it. We have to get rid of it. We have to fight it and make sure we don't pass none of it down to our children. And the same way our ancestors fought, so too we have to fight. Remember, not only they're the Maccabim, anachnu Maccabim. We're the few, we're the strong, not strong, the weak apparently according to Chazaq. We're the ones who can do it. We're the ones. But it requires us to fight every single day of our life. The job doesn't stop here. Put the menorah away. Put the stickers away. Put everything away. But the avodah continues. We have to fight every day. Hashem and that mayor will be zochet to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu b'ma b'meinu chayna torah v'ramah. Maor
Bendel, Maor, you brought the light. Baruch Hashem. I got out in the way the second chance. Baruch Hashem. Thank you so much for inspiring us, for driving away from Brooklyn. Baruch Hashem. Our next speaker is Rabbi Tomer Zino. Baruch Hashem inspires so many of us every single day. Baruch Hashem. Through his shiurim, through his chizuk, through his guidance. Everyone, please rise. One of the rabbis of the Bet Gavriel, Rabbi Tomer Zino.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bet Gavriel. Thank you for joining us on this very wonderful night after the wonderful holiday Chanukah, after wonderful words from Rabbi Maor. Shem v'rech otchem. I want to share with you, now that Hanukkah is over, how we're going to take this beautiful blessing that is Hanukkah and the light and the candles, the joy, all the donuts, how we're going to take with us the entire year that little jug of oil from Hanukkah the rest of the year, B'ezrat Hashem. If you think of Hanukkah right away, you think of miracles, nisim and niflaot. And we all want miracles. We all want miracles in our lives. I would love to see a miracle every day. Why not? What does it take to get a miracle? So you should know, we just have to look in the Gemara. What does the Gemara say? The Gemara says, Sechet Brachot, Amar le Rav Papa le Abaye, Ma'ishna Rishonim, Titrachish lehu Nisa. What is the difference to the earlier generations? They used to have open miracles. The Gemara says about Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa. His daughter was crying, Erev Shabbat, I don't have oil for to light Shabbat candles. I only have vinegar. I made a mistake. I opened the shkav. I saw bottles thinking they were oil. It was really vinegar. He said, don't worry. What's the big deal? You'll light it. Hashem, who said oil will burn, will say vinegar will burn. And that's what happened. The Gemara says, Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, there was some animal that was killing members of his community. Outside the outskirts of the city, it would come out of its hole, it would bite somebody, and they would die. So they said, Rabbi, already a few people died from this. Can you do something? He goes, he says, show me where this animal is living. He sticks his leg out, the animal bites him, and the animal dies. He brings this animal to the Bet Midrash, he puts it on the table, and he says, it's not the animal that kills, it's the sin that kills. Miracles like upon miracles like this used to be on the daily for our great Chachamim. The Gemara asks, Rav Papa asked Abaye, why does this happen to the previous generations and it doesn't happen to us? Something that's such a simple answer, but such a beautiful answer. And this is something that we have to take away from Hanukkah with us. The Gemara says, it's because in the previous generations, they used to do this thing called Mesirat Nefesh. What's Mesirat Nefesh? Mesirat Nefesh means where you think you can't push anymore, you can't do anymore, and you push yourself a little bit more. And you say, even though I don't know how I'm going to get this done, I don't know so much what I'm doing, but a person pushes himself and does Mesirat Nefesh. The Gemara says that's why the previous generations used to have miracles. When we go above our nature, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will go above nature for us. But what does it mean? What type of Mesirat Nefesh are we talking about? Well, we always push ourselves every day to get up out of bed. We push ourselves to go to work. We push ourselves to not say Lashon Hara. We push ourselves to say a good word. We push ourselves to be honest in business. We push ourselves a lot. If we didn't push ourselves, we would do way worse than we are currently doing. So what does this mean? I want to hone in on what type of Mesirat Nefesh we're talking about specifically. The Gemara gives an example. What type of Mesirat Nefesh did the older generation used to do that they got miracles and we don't have those miracles anymore? Give me an example. The Gemara says, here, no problem, we'll give you an example. The Gemara says a story of Rav Ada bar Ahava. Rav Ada bar Ahava was walking in the street one day, and he saw a woman, and he didn't know if she wasn't Jewish. He thought she was Jewish, and the Gemara says she was wearing a karbalta. What's a karbalta? It's a very expensive red cloak. So in his community, the ladies didn't wear this type of clothing. Ended up being that it was a breach in sniut. It was something that doesn't belong, it wasn't modest in their community, it wasn't accepted to wear such a thing. So the Gemara says, he thought she was Jewish. He got up in the middle of the shuk. The shuk is, mind you, like middle of the street, and hundreds of people walking around. He runs up to her, karamine, and she ripped the cloak off of her. He took it off of her physically, and he said, this is not right what you're wearing this. What are you doing? He gave her musar in the street. Now, the Gemara says, what happened? He found out that she's a goya. She's a kutit. She wasn't even Jewish. So he apologized. He said, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. He went and he was willing to pay damages for what he did. He damaged her garment. He embarrassed her. So they settled, and he paid 400 zuzim. She asked, what's your name? He asked her, what's her name? She said, my name is Matun. Matun, Aramaic, means patience. So he said, should have been Matun. If I would have waited a little bit more, I would have saved myself 400 zuz. Talking about a couple $1,000s over here. But the Gemara, so interestingly, Gemara brings this case as Mesirat Nefesh. The rabbi, saw a lady dressed not Chanukah. He ran up to her. He thought she was Jewish. He ripped it off of her and gave her musar. Then he got embarrassed because he realized she's a goya. Then, okay, so he pays her damages. That's the Mesirat Nefesh we're talking about. It's such an odd case of Mesirat Nefesh. I would understand if you told me a rabbi in the yeshiva, he was learning like 24 hours straight and he was dead tired, he pushed himself. I understand if you tell me a story about a rabbi or a rebbitzin who there was poor people coming to their house and they hosted them and they didn't have food to eat and they gave them the food that they had for themselves and they didn't know where they were going to eat. I understand Mesirat Nefesh like that, but this kind of story sounds like a Chil Hashem story. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like this radical rabbi ran in the street and started yelling at ladies not dressing tzanua. It sounds like a story we don't want to repeat. So I saw a beautiful pshat. The commentaries say on this story that you learn from this story. You know why the Gemara brings this story? The Gemara brings this story because Mesirat Nefesh means, if you look at the word specifically, giving over of your nefesh, giving over of your soul. What does it mean to give over your soul? You should know, Rav Ada bar Ahava, he was a great sage. If he's going to say something in the street, people are going to remember what he said. I'm sure if Rav Ada bar Ahava would fall in the street, people will remember that he fell in the street. Everything he does is front page newspaper. He's a big rabbi. He's the rabbi of the town. Rav Ada bar Ahava had everything to lose. He had the biggest reason to be shy and not say anything and not get into any trouble. And he went out of his way. He said, you know what? It's the right thing to do. Even though I'm uncomfortable, I'm shy, I have a lot of reputation on the line, I'm going to go and say something to this woman. I'm going to go and put my foot down. So the commentaries say Mesirat Nefesh means not just pushing yourself in general, pushing yourself in what's hard for your soul specifically. Giving over your soul, what your soul pulls you the most to say, it's not for me. Everybody has a favorite mitzvah, don't get me wrong. Some people, they love to daven. Some people, they love to learn. Some people, they love to give tzedakah. Some people, they love to host, to do achnasat orchim. But Mesirat Nefesh is not in doing those things that you love. Mesirat Nefesh means doing what your soul is so hard. You want to hold it. It's like, it feels like you're giving up your soul when you do it. That's how difficult it is. That's why the Gemara brings this story, because that's how hard it was for him. And that's what it means to do Mesirat Nefesh. Whatever is hard for you. The Gaon of Vilna says that why are you brought into this world? There's a secret to know what your tikkun is. He says, whatever is hard for you, that's what you didn't accomplish the last reincarnation, and that's why you came back to this world again. And people sometimes get into this mentality of, I do mitzvot. What do you mean? I do mitzvot. But they're focusing on the mitzvot that's easy for them. But Hashem brought you to this world for do Mesirat Nefesh, to give over your soul that's hard for you. I'm sure everybody can take upon themselves 40-day Nishmat Kol Chai, 100%. I'm sure everybody could do 40 weeks Challah if they really push themselves to. I'm sure guys could accept upon themselves to give $1 a day. I'm sure guys could accept upon themselves to pray Mincha Arvit. You could accept upon yourself a lot of things, but I want to see somebody say, I'm sitting at a Shabbat table, I don't speak Lashon Hara. Even if it means I have to get up from the table or I have to change the subject, I'll be willing to do that. Or maybe somebody will say, you know what, I'm going to go pray sunrise minyan every single day. Break myself. Teach myself how to get up in the morning even though I don't want to. I want to take upon myself to learn with the charuta in the evening, even though there's a bunch of events going on every night. I want to accept upon myself to learn at night with the charuta. This is difficult stuff. This takes tremendous dedication. But that's what Mesirat Nefesh is. Things that are hard for you, that's what you have to accept upon yourself. And if you do so, what do the sages tell us? You know why they used to have miracles upon miracles in every page of the Gemara? It's because they used to do what's hard for them. That's what they used to focus on. We could live a whole life, 120 years, doing mitzvot, convincing ourselves that I was religious. We go to Shamayim, and they tell us, listen, we in the book says over here, we sent you in this world to perfect this, this, and this. Did you do that? Well, what do you mean? But I did this, but I did that. But that's not what we sent you for. You were supposed to work on what was hard for you. That's why you came again. There's a famous story of the guy who always came to the rabbi. He said, Rabbi, I like your halacha shirs. Very good, very in-depth. He says, but listen, your views about gambling, your views about laws of interest, your views about this, your views about modesty, your views about it, I see you're very strict. I'm sure there's an opinion that argues. Isn't there an opinion that argues on what you said? He says, yeah, it's true, but we follow Shulchan Aruch, or we follow this opinion, whatever it is. He says, Rabbi, it's okay. I want the lenient opinion. I'll follow the Rambam, I'll follow the Meiri, I'll follow this, I'll follow that. Just give me the lenient opinion, Rabbi. He says, listen, it's not how it works. He says, no, listen, Rabbi, as long as the rabbi said it's allowed, I'm going to follow that rabbi. I know it's not the mainstream halakha, but I'm not ready for that, Rabbi. Baby steps, slowly, slowly. So his whole life he lived like that. I didn't go against the Torah, following one opinion. He goes to Shamayim after 120 years. He goes and he walks in there, and they said, oh, Bruchim Habayim, welcome to Olam Haba. He says, great, I'm so excited. Well, show me where I'm going. And show him to this small, little, dinky 4x4 place. He says, hey, this is what I worked 120 years for? This is the Olam Haba that everybody was talking about and all the hullabaloo? He says, yeah. He says, how? This, by no definition, does this fulfill Olam Haba? They said, well, according to some opinions, it does. And he got mind blown. And he realized that the way we are with Hashem is exactly how Hashem is with us. When a person says, it's hard for me, but I'm going to push myself, Hashem says, laws of nature says you get this, but I'm going to go out of my way, go hard, because he went hard and she went hard. I'm going to give you something that's not normal, something that's above nature. There's a wonderful story also where Rabbi Wasserman, who was just mentioning by Rabbi Maor, He went to visit his old town after many years. And he bumped into a childhood friend he went to cheder with. And they were speaking to each other. And his friend, he felt from his friend that his friend was trying to prove to him a point, like, I made it in life. So he said to him, "No, Rabbi Chana, what did you do with your life?" He says, "Oh, I went to yeshiva, I got smicha, I'm a Rosh Yeshiva now, I have a lot of students, I teach Torah every day." He says, "Oh, very nice, Elchanan, very nice. You know, I'm a doctor, I'm well known in the community, I have a lot of money, I have a beautiful house, look at this, look at that." And he was sort of showing off to Rabbi Chanan. So Rabbi Chanan appreciated his visit, he appreciated his company, he spoke to him, shmooze, they got up. So Rabbi Chanan says, "You know, I got to go back to my hometown. If you don't mind, let's go to the train station." He says, "No problem." He takes us to the train station. He goes and he comes up to the platform, and there was a brand new train. Beautiful seats, windows that actually work. Something brand new, state of the art. And it comes into the station. So Rabbi Chanan's friend, childhood friend, says, "Listen, no, take this train." He says, No, I'm going to take that train." He points to the shabby, 100-year-old looking train that nobody would ever want to ride. And he says to him, "Why are you doing that? Why are you going there? I'm going this one. It's beautiful, it's nice, it's comfortable, opulent." He says, "My dear friend, I would love to. It's going the wrong way. That's not the way I need to go. I need to go this way. That's going the other way." And Rabbi Chanan says, I got a bomb of musar in that moment. Musar bomb. He says, people, they say, why don't you take this train, live this kind of life, where they enjoy themselves, they spend on themselves, they're happy, they do what's easy for them. And then there's people who take the train that's a little bit harder in life. He asked the guy, "Why are you working so hard? Why are you suffering? Wake up so early. Push yourself. Guard your mouth. Guard your eyes. Don't enjoy yourself like everybody else. Why are you?" Sometimes people could tell him, "He's shoteh. Oh, what are you doing? Come enjoy like us." Tell him, "My friend, that train is nice, but it's going the wrong way. It's not taking you where you need to be." Eventually, Chaz v'Shalom, we went into a wall. We say, "Hashem, I need a Yeshua. I need a salvation." And you should have realized that if you want that salvation, you should have took the other train where you worked harder. You did Mesirat Nefesh. You wouldn't hit this wall that you're hitting now because you would have went the right way. The first halacha in Shulchan Aruch, what is it? It's, Torah tells us, you have to be Asken Amer Gibor Kari. You have to be bold like a leopard and strong like a lion to do the will of Hashem. There's halacha, for example. If a person finds out the clothing that he's wearing, the jacket that he's wearing is kilayim, chas v'shalom. It's shatnez. The halacha is that even if you're in a marketplace, someone tells you, "Oh, you should know, you bought that suit from that and that place. That suit is shatnez. You can't wear that. It's a negative prohibition every single time, every second you're wearing it." The Gemara says you take it off in the middle of the marketplace. You go to the nearest place that you could go to the side of the road, and you take it off and you figure it out. The Gemara says, "But it's embarrassing. You take off your clothes in the middle of the street." The Gemara says, "En chokhmah, en tvuna, en etzah neged Hashem." The Pasuk in Mishlei says, there's no wisdom, no understanding, no counsel when it comes against Hashem. For example, the Gemara says, if you have a rabbi who's saying something wrong, rabbi saying halacha is wrong. The Gemara says, "Kol makom sheyesh chilul Hashem, en cholkin kavod larav." If there's a chilul Hashem, you can't give kavod to the rabbi. "Rabbi, I'm sorry, didn't we learn that it's really a sur? Why are you saying it's mutar?" Why? All these situations. Why is it that you have to go and do something difficult? Maybe talk about it later, maybe change the suit when you get home. No. The Torah tells us that part of halacha is mesirat nefesh. You have to push yourself. Sometimes it means doing difficult things, so be it. There's a mashal. A guy went to the wedding. Fancy hotel, he got there early. He wanted a tour of the hotel. It was in Monaco, very fancy place. He goes there, his first time he's there. He wants to see the hotel, he wants to see what's all the hullabaloo about. Show him the kitchen, show him the beautiful food they're making. They're going to serve soup that night. He sees one custodian with his cleaning gear. He's putting away his stuff. He had no space. In his closet, he puts one of these, extreme-looking liquids up on the table. All of a sudden, a bunch of waiters come bustling through, bump over this bottle of who knows what's in that liquid, and it starts flowing, seeping into the soup. The big, big pot of soup. This guy witnesses this. He's going bonkers. He goes and he says, I just witnessed this bunch of poisons going in the soup. Who knows what's going to happen to everybody when they eat the soup? He starts losing his mind. He starts saying, who do I tell? Who do I speak to? I just got here. I don't know anything. The wedding already starts. He starts going through all these swarms of people. He comes to the head waiter. He comes to the khatan. He comes to the father khatan. He says, guys, you can't eat the soup. I'm telling you, there's poison in the soup. So what happened? He met one Israeli guy. Is it poison? Shagata? What are you talking about? Давай, go eat the soup, relax. Успокойся. He goes and he says, I'm telling you guys, this is nuts. You're going to die, God forbid. The cleaning solution fell into the soup. It's poison. Nobody listens to him. So can you imagine? He's sitting at the table. Everyone gets served soup, and everyone's ready to eat the soup. They're eating the soup, and they say, it's good, it's yummy. And they look at him and say, hey, you're going to eat the soup, right? Come on, you got to eat the soup. What, we paid for our seat? It's kosher. What's the problem? What's wrong with you? They all start pressuring him, giving influence. Question is, will you give in? And that, I believe, today is the biggest Mesirat Nefesh. Today's Mesirat Nefesh is social influence, social pressure. Will I do what everybody else says, even though I know it's dead wrong? I remember I spoke to someone one time, and I said, listen, you're making this and this event coming up. Don't you think that it's not worth it to do this and spend money on that, and there's no point of this, and it's all just for show and for... It's a waste of money, essentially. He said, Rabbi, you're 100% right. It's a total waste of money. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. I said, so great, so you're not going to do it, right? He says, no, I'm going to do it. I said, why is that? He said, Rabbi, there's a famous line. What are people going to say? I'll spend money that I don't want to spend. I'll waste time I don't have. Because what are people going to say? I said, so why do you need to do such a yeshvo? I don't want people to think I'm cheap. I don't want people to say bad things about me and say I'm like this, I'm like that. But I said, you agree it's better to have it in a shul with a shiur, right? Yeah, 100% Rabbi. On paper, 100% right. But in the real world, you got to do what you got to do, Rabbi. It is what it is. The power of what we see on our phones, what we see other people doing, and we think that there's this thing called the norm. And if it's like it's a spacesuit, and if you come out of the spacesuit, you won't have oxygen to breathe, you'll die. If you don't do the norm, what everybody else is doing. And there'll be situations where everybody wants to eat poison. And everybody wants to jump off a cliff. And you're saying, I don't get it. Why in the world would I do this? But I have to. Why? Because everybody's doing it. And that's where the Maccabees had to have Mesirat Nefesh. And we're the Maccabees today also. And that we are standing up to a lot of fights in the world currently. And we need miracles. And how are we going to get those miracles? Mesirat Nefesh. To not to give in to the pressure. To not to give in to say, Avraham Avinu was the Hebrew, the Ivri. He was on one side and everybody else was on the other. And if that's what it takes, so be it. A person shouldn't feel wrong by doing the right thing. Obviously, I'm not telling anybody to get into a fight. I'm not telling anybody to put anybody down. But within yourself, attach to the truth, stick to it, and don't be nervous, because that's what you're about to get a miracle when you do Mesirat Nefesh, to do the right thing. We know that if you would get $100,000 every time you did a mitzvah, I'm sure everybody would be running to do mitzvahs. We run to do mitzvahs now, but we would run a little bit more faster, I think. Problem is that we get way more than $100,000 for a mitzvah. There was a child, a young man, who was told an offer. The big businessman wanted to see how dedicated Jews are. He said, listen, I'll pay you $1,000 if you don't put on tefillin tomorrow. He says, no deal. I'll give you $10,000. Sorry, no deal. I'll give you $100,000 if you don't put on tefillin tomorrow. No deal. He says, last offer, $10 million, just one day you don't put on tefillin. Would you do it? All his friends were like, I don't know, listen, it's just one day, The boy said no. So the businessman looked at him and he said, you see this? You're basically telling me every day you're enjoying $10 million worth of money when you put on tefillin. Because that's how much it's worth to you. We forget this, how valuable the mitzvot are to us, and how much truth we know there is to them. And we let this social pressure, the mityavnim, the Greeks, the Hellenists, who think that you have to modernize. To be a Jew is not to be old school and to follow these old ancient traditions and be a goody two-shoes. You have to let loose a little bit, be part of the times. Modernize, open up a little bit, go to a concert, MSG, and okay, it's kosher, it's not kosher, it's fine, just enjoy culture. And we know that these mitzvot are worth millions. And we let this little voice convince us to lose those mitzvot, Chas v'shalom. When we have a huge miracle coming to us, what do we say? We say that it's all from Hashem. We say that this miracle is from Hashem. It's not my own doing. We all realize that we cannot exist without HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving us the strength. How many times we hit a brick wall where we said, if it's not for Hashem, how would I ever get out of this? When a person gets pulled over, when a person is almost in an accident, when a person is dying in front of us, we all scream, Shema Yisrael. Hashem, Eno milvado, I have no one to turn to besides for you. And we have to make sure not to forget that how much we believe and realize it's all from Him. We need that every second. There's a beautiful story about how Rashi, HaKadosh, or Shlomo Yitzchaki came to this world. Not for no reason. His family didn't have kids. His parents didn't have kids for many years. And the reason he came to this world was the zuchut of his father, the sages tell us. His father was a diamond dealer, a jeweler. He had a very beautiful gem come to his hands. He could hold it with one hand in his fist, something abnormal. And he wanted to go and make some good business off of it, deal of a lifetime. Problem was, the Pope heard about this diamond. And the Pope in that time was super powerful. You said no to him, it was like death sentence. They said, we heard you have this gem, you have to provide it for the Pope's crown. He says, I'll think about it. And he says, how can I support Avodah Zarah? How can I make parnasah with these people? But at the same time, I can't say no. He thought up of a great plan. He says, listen, I'm scared someone's going to rob us in the middle of the deal. We have to meet on a boat. We meet on a boat. Nobody's there. Just me and the messengers of the Pope. They take out the diamond. They're on the boat in the middle of the lake. So they showed him. They approved. They're ready to get the funds out. Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki's father sneezes and chucks the diamond in the water. Everybody putting their hands in the head. What did you do? How? What? He went home and he slept real good that night. He had a dream that an angel came to him and said that you gave up this diamond for Hashem, you're going to get a diamond who shines up the entire world. He had a son, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki. He didn't have kids all those years till this happened. And his son, there's no person who learns Torah today who doesn't learn Rashi. How did you get such a miracle child? Because Mesirat Nefesh. When he said the money, it's not worth it. The mitzvah is a beggar for me. I'm a businessman. This is my business. This is the diamond I've been looking for my entire life to make a deal with. Give it straight to Hashem. Mesirat Nefesh. We should learn from the Maccabees. We should learn from our Chachamim. The Beit Hadash writes, why did Chanukah happen? You know, usually the Jewish holidays is they try to kill us, we survive, let's eat. That's usually every Jewish holiday. So we could ask Hashem, listen, don't send me the goyim, don't make us any miracles, I'll stay put and be relaxed. Why do you have to make it that we have to suffer? And then a miracle last second, and all of a sudden, holiday. No miracle, no holiday, it's okay. The Bach says, we deserved that the Greeks were after us. Why is that? The Bach says because the Jews took the mitzvot for granted. Specifically the Beit HaMikdash, the Kohanim. How did the Kohen come to the Beit HaMikdash? All right, okay, so what are we doing today? Okay, we're doing the 2 Korban Chatats. Give me 3 minchas to go. Okay, let's go, let's get this over with. No, okay, what did you do? Okay, here we go. Shecht, okay, throw the blood. Okay, let's get out of here. Chop. Whoa, Kohanim, why are you such a rush? You're not serious. You're not paying attention to the details over here. There's a lot of halachot. Where are you guys going? Listen, we got an appointment. We got a basketball game in the gymnasium across the street. We got to go. It's us and the Greeks. We're going to go work out. We got to go into the gymnasium. They started taking the mitzvot very lax. Start taking the Beit HaMikdash not so seriously. Thinking it's a joke. Thinking, let's just get this over with. You know sometimes how people pray mincha? They come to a mincha. Say shalom. I guess. I don't say shalom, I guess. How do people come and say Tehillim? No, I didn't say that. We do the mitzvot so, lackadaisically, we get so used to it. You ever see how a convert puts on tefillin? You ever see how a person who just became Baal Tshuva, how he prays mincha? He comes to me and he says, Rabbi, how come this guy, he prays like this? He's been religious way more than me. I said, I know, and I have to sit there and it's hard for me to explain it, but I have to explain to him, listen, he wasn't in the right mind, he has a lot on his mind, he didn't pay attention really. He's like, you're praying to Hashem. How could you pray like that? You're doing a mitzvah from the Torah. This is the whole world stands on this. How could you act like that? And we forget that. We get so used to it. And that's what happened to the Jewish people right before Hanukkah happened. Comes the Greeks and says, you know what? No more mitzvahs. Come be goyim. And the Jews are like, what? I think that's what we're trying to do actually. We were trying to be goyim the whole time. Wait, do I really want to be a goy? No, I don't want to be a goy. I want to do mitzvahs. You only appreciate what you have when you lose it. So they started making teshuvah, they had to learn in the caves, and they had to go secretly to do mitzvot. I met, how many Jews I met from Soviet Union? They said, Rabbi, I don't understand how the shul is not full of people. I don't understand how every lecture is not packed to the gills. We used to hide in a basement within a basement, and we had to pretend that we were going here, going there, just to learn Aleph Bet. To go learn one Dvar Torah, we had to risk our lives. This guy didn't even get his Brit Milah till he was who knows how old, because how dangerous it was. He says, I came to America, I don't understand how people are free to do whatever they need to do, and they have doubts, and they're getting distracted, and maybe this is more important than that TV show on Netflix, maybe it takes more time. How could it be? I said, very good question. That's the power of the Yetzer Hara, and that's the power of Mesirat Nefesh. we have to realize that these stories don't only exist in back in the day. These stories are happening every single day. You know, for a long time ago, there was, maybe a year ago, there was this Rosh Yeshiva in Israel who was like 80 years old, and he had a baby. It was all over the news. He just had a second baby. Can you believe that? So don't tell me these stories are from, many generations ago. These stories of miracles are happening every single day. You're not hearing about them, but they're still happening. From where? Mesirat Nefesh. Rabotai. If we want Chanukah to continue, if we want miracles to continue, if we want to get over that hump in our life, Mesirat Nefesh, Mesirat Nefesh, Mesirat Nefesh, Baruch Na'olam, Amen.